life, just sitting back and being free again and kicking back surfing. It's good.
Tell you the truth, I never thought it would happen, so it's the best thing ever. I used to fall asleep crying thinking about him, you know, not being able to surf with me again, so you can see how happy he is too, so it's mad.
Every time I spoke to Jai when he was in trouble, I didn't speak to him much, but he just really said to me, this is what we're going to do, Cub, we're going to charge big waves from now on, that's our lives. So as soon as he got out, that's what we did, we went to charge big waves. We got ourselves ready with a couple of little trips that just happened to be the heaviest waves in Australia anyway, but we were pretty much getting ready for the grand final, which was Cyclops, which is renowned as the heaviest wave in Australia and probably the only wave in Australia that scares me.
We'd seen the wave and we're starting to plan it, and there was a massive swell came. We really had no idea where to go, no idea where it was, no one did.
We don't know if we go that way and turn right to there, but then we don't want to go there, we want to get to there, so if we're in between, we know if we're between there or if it's that way.
That's how it is.
Yeah, we know.
Poison's up there, but...
So when we couldn't go any further with four-wheel drives, we launched the skis, just went exploring, and after about an hour and a half...
We were that lucky. How fast we here?
There's full of seals on the island, big albino dolphins. It's hectic out there, bruh.
We found this wave about 2 kilometres out in the ocean, just huge and just going...
It's the sort of place, if you could take the wrong wave, regardless of who you are, you know, Kelly Slater, Andy Irons, Kobe Aberton, you take the wrong wave and you're going to eat it. And when you eat it there, it's probably about the worst place you could wipe out in the world.
I can't describe it much, but saying it's barely surf pullers, you know, and that's giving it a compliment. It's just so heavy and thick and big and shallow and dangerous. There's not much more a wave could be that's any heavier or more dangerous.
I mean, that coastline is really known for its sharks, white pointers in particular. There's some beaches not far from there where there's 4 or 5 tombstones on the beach for people that have been eaten.
Cyclops is so scary because you're 6 hours from the hospital, a 4-hour car ride and a 2-hour jet ski ride. So if you hurt yourself properly, you're in a lot of trouble.
Through, you know, the natural selection, there's only going to be a handful of guys that are going to be able to do it anyway. You've generally got to be a pretty red-hot surfer to start with to be able to ride this stuff. But probably the other thing is, you know, the mental aptitude. You've got to have a brain that will allow you to take off on a wave like that. And that's where these guys differ a lot from most average surfers.
One of these things with these trips, that there is a lot at risk a lot of the time, and when Kobe cut himself on the 3rd wave, sliced 2 veins in his arm, and we're in shark-infested water, we basically had to make the decision, you know, do we pack up and go, or do we at least try and do what we came here to do, which is surf in one of the most dangerous waves in Australia, so...
There's gotta be fucking 2 great ones here in 5 seconds, bro. You can. Let's go.
The whole water was just burlied up with blood. We didn't see any sharks, but they were definitely there. The wave was so shallow and so dangerous that you couldn't wear a leash to your board because that would drag you over onto the rocks and over onto the reef.
He's in trouble, man.
Oh, Beef's got the hell.
you got that, all right.
Beef's got the first aid kit, but we'll get a towel around that now so it don't get blood all over.
No, don't, bro.
And the best part of our lifestyle is that adrenaline part of it, you know, where it is an adventure. You are putting yourself on the line.
That's how we do in the desert. Nah, pretty good trip. Yeah, it's good just to be surfing with my brother and my good mates. It's just good to be back here surfing with the boys.
Bringing that up.
The boys are all just happy to be back together, doing what they love. But just when they were feeling on top of the world, they received a phone call from home, which would again devastate them.
This day is getting older in fading light. It's beautiful. This wind is blowing colder, and too soon I'll feel its pull. Still, I took all my chances.
It's just sad to see such a lady who gave everything. When she gave us a house, the backyard, the pool, there's a full clubhouse at the back. You know, there's a lady who just opened the door to just, you know, just struggling kids.
Can be both heaven and hell. So sturdy up your heart. For the road is long ahead.
That was a big heart-wrenching thing for us to see, that for Ma to die just while Jai or Kobe was in jail, you know. Well, it almost would have been like she'd failed. So, yeah, it was just so important for Jai and Kobe to be cleared, you know, before she passed away.
Slows your mind, mind. Ma played a big role in our lives, and after she passed away, we realised how much of an influence she was on us. One of the many things she did teach us was not to judge people by how much money they had or by their skin colour, but by the type of person they were. Perhaps it was Ma's wisdom that would prepare us for yet another dramatic turn in our beach community. When she died, the ocean, my tears. I've tried to teach you once.
December 2005, nearby Cronulla Beach exploded onto newspapers around the world, courtesy of a shameful exchange between the local surf community and Sydney's Lebanese community. With police moving in to enforce a lockdown of Cronulla, convoys of youth from Sydney's inner suburbs staged retaliatory attacks on the surf community.
Yeah, as a matter of emergency, could all the St George Highway Patrol OSC cars deploy to Maroubra ASAP, please? So I think we might need some help here.
Maroubra Beach, although not part of the incident at Cronulla, was the target. With word of the reprisal attack circulating around the beach, the Bra Boys gathered to defend the area.
We only had a couple of minutes to prepare for the attack. We started getting calls that there was 150 armed men heading our way, smashing everything in their paths.
They just ran down the hill, a whole bunch of them, you know. Frog got to them first and said, fucking, take it easy, guys, and they just fucking battered him down.
He just went straight at him. He was the first guy to reach the whole gang. Next fired up was a wave of the fucking jiu-jitsu party, Sonny and that. Come up behind him. By the time they got there, fucking Frog was getting pumped.
Fucking what, 100 of them?
That's what I just...
Mate, fucking nothing.
And then it just got into a running race, you know. They took off up the hill. The boys chased after him, caught up with a couple of them, and then, you know, they pretty much drove off. But fuck, they left a path of destruction.
The following day, with sensational media reporting about a race war between Anglo-Australians and Lebanese Australians, the Bra Boys used their association with migrant communities to work behind the scenes to help broker a peace deal between the warring factions.
Maroubra's had a very good relationship with the local Lebanese community here for around 10 years. We're calling for calm on the beaches.
And we've never, ever backed these things against the Lebanese community. Never. We never have, and we never will.
Was it true the Bra Boys were involved in protecting the police last night?
We don't protect police, full stop.
It was a defining moment for the Bra Boys, so often criticised for their antisocial behaviour and running battle with authorities. There was some confusion about their role as peacemaker.
We called for peace in the race riots because, number one, we had nothing to do with what happened at Cronulla. Number two, we've got one of the most multicultural beaches in Australia. And number three, if one of the kids from here were killed, it would have spiralled out of control and it would have been very hard to stop. But you know, the ironic thing was that half the people who defended the beach that night were ethnic, and 3 of them couldn't even speak English.
We think the beach belongs to everyone, but when people go to a beach, any beach around the world, they need to realise that there might be a whole history and a culture there, spanning for generations, and that should be respected.
After a 3-year rollercoaster ordeal, the Abberton brothers and the rest of the Bra Boys are back together where they belong. And as time goes on, and the tribe names change, the ocean will continue to give solace to the youth of the place of thunder, and the next generations will fight to keep its culture alive.
Aboriginal.
Australian.
Cook Islands. Lebanese.
Half Australian, half Samoan.
Half Italian, half Australian.
Half Aboriginal, half Danish.
Half Australian, half Atuman.
Brazilian.
Australian. Half Australian, half Czech. Chilean.
Half Australian, half Nigerian.
Half Australian, half Chinese.
Australian, mate. Who knows, Maroubra?
Sometimes it was hell, other times we felt like kings. But no matter what, when things went wrong, we stuck together. And I've been hanging around with the kind of people you warned me about. And I turned out just like them. Whoa, the times we had, all of my friends, I'm glad I turned out to be just like them. Thank you, I'm glad you fucking come to Maroubra.
You better watch what you say if you wanna come around here, if you're gonna start shit. Cause out of all the things in the world we fear, guess what? None of them are you. And this is not South LA, this is South Sydney. This is where we grew up, that's the corner where I first threw up. And over there's a spot where I first kissed a girl. This is our world. Ever since we were kids, we had people driving down all the streets where we live. All of these wanna be gangsters, looking for a fight, trying to come up against us. We had to band together, now we've all got the same tattoos. Now we're on the news, yeah, now we've got a reputation. Now there's all of these punks who wanna test themselves, see if they can best us. But stop, just for a second, try and imagine yourself in the same situation. Do you reckon that